Hello friends, welcome to this course on communication skills and personality development. In the last class, we have seen what is communication, the definition of communication, the meaning of communication skills and types of communication. And in today's class, we will be understanding what is listening and what is note taking. So, moving ahead, let us see what is the meaning of listening. Listening is the process of receiving, interpreting and reacting to a message received from the speaker. Listening is the act of mindfully hearing and to comprehend the meaning of words spoken by another in a conversation or speech. Now, let us see how listening is different from hearing. Hearing refers to the sound that enters into the ears, whereas listening refers to the interpretative action taken by the listeners to make the meaning out of sound wave. In the first case, in case of hearing, it is a physiological process. Some sound hits our eardrum and subsequently our eardrum gives message to our brain. So that hearing takes place. Whereas listening, it is a psychological act. In case of hearing, it occurs subconsciously or automatically. We are doing our routine work, and together with that we can hear some noise or we can hear some sound outside our campus or outside the work where we are doing, outside the environment where we are doing any work. But listening takes place willingly by the listener. Now let us see what are the advantages of or what are the purposes of listening. The one being to gain new information and new ideas. A business person has to get new information and ideas from various parties. For example, he gets the information from the customer regarding the product. He takes various ideas from the employees inside the organization, so on and so forth. He gets training from his instructor. All these activities require him to be a good listener. Next purpose of listening is to be inspired or to be motivated. Yes. A very simple example. When we came in our first semester, in our first class, we are not that much motivated in this profession, that is agriculture. But after listening various lectures from our professors, we got motivated. And in that sequence we got interest in this subject. So listening has also the purpose of motivating. The next purpose being to improve the overall communication. A business person or any professional needs strong communication to survive in the market. He has to face a high degree of competition. This can be achieved by having strength in all areas of communication. What are the areas of communication? Reading, writing, speaking, and particularly listening. The next purpose being to resolve crisis. Now what does this mean, to resolve crisis? Good listening helps to solve crisis in the organization with the help of additional information and adequate explanation as per the situation. A person without listening goes on talking, that will never come to a solution. In spite of that, a person listening to some additional information and then that adds on to the current situation. The next purpose of listening is self-discipline. Good listening makes the listeners self-disciplined. and helps him to understand the vision, feeling of the speaker with a more positive attitude. Moving on to the next slide. What are the steps of listening? Now, listening occurs, it is a process, so it occurs in a number of steps. Number one being hearing. Hearing is the first step of listening. It can also be synonymously called as sensing. Sensing what? Sensing whatever words or whatever sound one is hearing. The listener must hear the message attentively and memorize the speaker's word. According to Kumar and Raj, the first step of listening is sensing. The sensing process is dependent on exposure and is moderated by noise but enhanced by motivation. To enhance the sensing process, how the sensing process can be enhanced? What are the points by which we can enhance the sensing process? Number one being avoid interrupting others. Now I am speaking to you, and if someone in your house is interrupting you, automatically the process of listening will be hampered. So avoid the interrupting others. Next, show interest by nodding or smiling. Simply when you are in a face-to-face class, along with the speaker, if you nod your head or if you smile when the speaker is talking to you, it enhances your listening power. Then comes maintaining the eye contact. This is very important. The speaker is speaking in front of you and you're looking somewhere here, there, automatically it symbolizes that you are not a good listener. In spite of that, if you give a very firm eye contact, this gives a good message that yes, you are a good listener. The next step being remove physical distraction. Yes. How to remove physical distraction? If there is some noise going on, some problem in the sound, those things should be reduced. Only then the process can be done very smoothly. Now comes the next process is note down the statistical data, if any, given by the speaker, because statistical data cannot be memorized, so that should be noted down. Yes. The next process or the next step in the process of listening is interpretation. Now, the inner meaning of the message must be properly interpreted. In communication, there is a saying by Barlow that the meaning lies in the people and not in the words. The same words can mean something different to one person, and the same word can mean differently to some other person. It depends on the context in which we are saying that those same words. The listeners generally misinterpret the words. Why they do misinterpret? Due to lack of knowledge, lack of experience, lack of attitude, and lack of culture. So what should one do to enhance the interpretation? One should avoid premature evaluation. One should hold their emotions in check. Okay? Only then they can interpret exactly, appropriately what the speaker is speaking. The next process being evaluation. The listener ascribes value to the message. The listener then decides what to agree and what to disagree with the message based on his own perception, based on his own understanding and knowledge, particularly when the speaker presents any statistical data or information during his presentation. The next step being the response. So in this step, the listener responds to the message. Now how can you respond? Your response can be verbally or non-verbally. I told you in the beginning, you can either nod your head or you can also say no or yes by just gestures, showing some gestures, or verbally also you can respond to the listener. On the part of the listener, he should use open-ended questions to verify the source of message, statistical data, etc. And he should indicate their area of engagement and disagreement of the deliberation. Now, there are various types of listening. Number one being superficial listening. Now, what is this superficial listening? When the listeners have very little awareness of the content, okay? The listener tends to ignore the message and is not able to concentrate on the theme. This is called as superficial listening. The next type of listening being appreciative listening. The main purpose is to get enjoyment and pleasure out of this appreciative listening. When you see the commentary of a cricket going on, these are appreciative listening. Then comes focused listening. What is this focused listening? It involves listening for specific information. As if now I am giving the lecture which is going to come in your exam. Now you are listening very focusedly. Okay, what ma'am is saying, you all focus your attention fully. Then the next type of listening is evaluative listening. Evaluative listening involves evaluation of the oral message and developing a line of thought. The next type of listening being attentive listening. Attentive listening demands complete attention of the listener. It is basically active and intelligent listening. In situations such as group discussion, meeting and job interview. When you are being interviewed, you are listening to the examiner or the interviewer very attentively. That is attentive listening. Then comes critical listening. What is this critical listening? It is to understand and evaluate the meaning of the speaker's message on several levels of accepting or rejecting the message. For example, listening to a salesperson before making a purchase. The salespersons come to you, you listen very critically. Okay, this much I have to spend on this. So what are the benefits plus what are the add-on benefits which I am going to get? So this is critical listening. Then comes empathetic listening. What do you mean by the word empathy? Empathy is the feeling I feel like how you feel. Okay? Putting oneself into another situation and then acting accordingly. When one listens to a distressed friend who wants to share his feeling, that is empathetic listening. When you go to your doctor, when you see a doctor, he is empathetic to you and listen to your problem. Next, what are the barriers to effective listening? You should know this. Number one being the talking speed versus the speed of thought. The average person speaks at about 125 words per minute, whereas the thinking speed is 500 words per minute. So here is the mismatch between the speaking speed and the thought speed. This gives ample idle time for the mind to wander to other matters, that concentrating on the speaker's message. Then comes overload of message, which we see in our day-to-day lives. There is the flood of information. Go to Google and there is so many information there. Okay, the same comes in the case of listening also. When the message is lengthy, containing too much statistical data or illogical data, it is difficult to retain the information. Okay, so how should be the message? It should be very crisp. Okay, then comes the ego of the listener. Ego is a very big barrier, not in listening, in all the areas of communication. It is a very big barrier. Superiority complex, desire to suppress the others, and such negative emotions hamper listening. The next barrier being cultural difference between the speaker and the sender or the listener. What is this cultural difference? Cultural difference can be in terms of education, level of knowledge, understanding. All this can hamper effective listening. If extension workers deliver a message to the farmers frequently in English, okay, when you go to the field and you use English terms, the farmers, they will say, "Kya bol rahe hain?" They are talking something Roman, okay, something Greek, not getting into their head. So in that case also listening will not take place appropriately. It will hamper the listening. Then next barrier being physical distraction. I am taking the class, in the meanwhile some bell is being ringing, some telephone is being ringing. So that will hamper my voice or my pace of speaking, and automatically it will hamper listening in your part also. Then comes fear. People who are afraid during conversation, they do not listen. Okay, when you meet some very big, very famous personality, you are afraid of him, and what sometimes it happens, what he is saying, it is not you are hearing. Okay, the words, they are going into your eardrum, but you are not able to comprehend the message. That is due to the fear which you are feeling. Okay, the next barrier being interrupting. Okay, when someone is speaking in his own pace, okay, and in the middle someone comes and interrupts the speaker, then also his pace gets disturbed, and ultimately the listening quality is also getting disturbed. He might interrupt for seeking any clarification or for seeking any more details and all. So this should be avoided. The next and the last barrier being the physiological barrier. When the listener is ill due to any reason, then also he is not able to listen properly. Okay, because listening not only involves your ears, but it involves your brain as well. And if you are not physically fit, you cannot apply your brain as well to the point. Next, we'll see how to improve our listening skills. Okay, every time we're talking that how to improve our communication skill, how to improve our speaking skill, today we will see how to improve our listening skills. Good listeners make good communicators. In communication, listening comes third. First is speaking, writing, and then listening. So it is as important as speaking. So let us see how to improve our listening skills. Number 1 point is sit where the speaker always see you. Don't go and sit at the back bench. Sit in the front or in the middle where the speaker can see you. Okay, there should be some. The next point is eye contact. Even if the subject is boring, but there should be some eye contact. Then we should not talk, okay? While the speaker is speaking, we should not talk. That will hamper Not only your listening, as well as that will disturb the speaker as well. Then comes pay attention to the content. The next method can be avoid making assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Whatever is being presented by the speaker, that you should follow. The next being, be flexible in note taking. Note taking is very important while listening. Why? Because it involves so many senses, okay, at a time. And like this also we know that for doing any work or for learning any work quickly, we should involve as many senses as possible. Okay, looks, eyes, seeing, hearing, talking. If you go to learn a new language course, okay, they will not only, you don't have only to give the exam written, you also have to speak, okay, see, then only you can learn it very fast. So note taking is very important while listening. Then note the examples, formulas cited by the speaker, and you should resist distraction. Distraction could be by any means, you should resist that. So moving on to the next topic, that is note taking. So the definition of note taking goes like this. Note taking is a systematic process of writing down the information in a concise and condensed manner while listening to other persons in meeting, conference, TV programs, etc. Okay? So you can ask that what is the importance of note taking? What is the advantage? So these are the advantages, following are the advantages. Number one being, keeps the body active and mind is actively involved in listening. As I previously also told, it involves more than 2 senses, so it keeps our body active. Then it adds to the organizational and creativity skill. How? Developing note-taking skills, the students are able to select the important material and discard the unnecessary content. So this adds to the organizational and creativity skills to the students. The next advantage being, the note-taking can extend the span of the student, attention span of the student in any learning situation. Okay? The next advantage being, it helps in building good notes. When you write in your own handwriting, that is more important, or that is more useful at the time of examination when you go for revising your notes. In spite of revising some other people's note written in others' handwriting, your own notes will be more fruitful. The next advantage being, good notes can act as excellent reference for future work to refer back for reports, essays, projects, presentations, etc. So there comes a question, how to improve note-taking skills? For that, there are 3 phases of note-taking, and you should follow all the 3 phases. What are these? The first phase being, that is before the class. Before the class is started, you should read the material. If assigned by the teacher, sit at the center, take note for each lecture on the new page, date each page of the notebook, write the chapter name at the top of the page. So these are some procedures which you can follow before the start of the class. The next phase being during the class. During the class, you should listen carefully at the beginning of the lecture, for an overview of the main topics of the lecture. Be selective, listen to everything, but do not write down all, okay? Note only which is very important. Listen everything, but note only the important points. That is the meaning of the note. Not just you will write from the A to Z. No, that is not note. Then write down the main idea, the key points, the sub-points, the terms, examples, formulas, everything, okay? Do not worry about the missing points. You can check it after the class also. You should copy the diagram, illustrations if given during the class. So these are some methods. If you follow during the class, your note taking skill will be improved. And the third phase is after the class. After the class, you should review, revise, edit your notes after the class as soon as possible. You should rewrite the notes if necessary, okay? So there are many methods of note taking. We will look into few of them. The first and the very important one is the Cornell method. Cornell method of note taking was devised by Walter Pock, okay? He is a professor at Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. In this Cornell method, as the diagram is suggesting you, there are 3 parts of the paper, okay? 3 sections. We divide the whole page into 3 sections. Number 1, 2.5 inch to the left column, which is known as the Q column. Then the note taking column. The note taking column is of 6 inches. And at the bottom, there is a 2-inch summary section, okay? For every page, there is a summary section. So what are the advantages of this Cornell method? Notes are neatly organized, summarized, and easy to review. It takes a short time to absorb information. As a result, effective learning is stimulated, and it is easy format for pulling out major concepts and ideas. The next method of note taking is outlining method. So in this method, we write the headings and the bullet points to organize any topic. This method is most useful when learning about topics that include a lot of details. Okay, so it is like the main topic, underneath that the subtopic 1, underneath that to right of it, it is the key point 1, then little bit to the right of it, it is the key point 2, and so on. Main topic 2, and key points of 1, key points 2, so on and so forth. So what are the advantages of outlining method? It is well organized system of note taking, and it is easy to see the relationship between topics and subtopics. The next method is the mapping method. The mapping note taking method is more visual. Okay, why it is more visual? Because it depicts the relationship between the topic. Okay, suppose the main topic is virus. Okay, then comes coronavirus. Okay, the next topic is pathways to check coronavirus. 1, social distancing. 2, flattening the curve. 3rd, herd immunity. Okay, so you can make out the relation between the topics and the subtopics accordingly. The next and the final method of note taking is the charting method. What do we do in the charting method? In the charting method, the listener, he prepares 3 to 4 columns. Okay? Important events or persons and messages of the events are arranged in the columns. This you have seen in the case of extension programs. When we give the extension programs, there comes the charting method of note taking. How it is written? Year of the program, acronym of the program, the full form of the program, and what are the objectives of the program. Okay? So what are the advantages of this charting method? First, the facts are organized and easy to review. It highlights the key points of information for each topic. So this is all for today. Then we'll meet the next day with the next topic. Thank you.